If I can offer up just real quick why the Warriors are
pay off your,
in trouble.
Your tizzy tees.
You've got Nikola Jokic, 28. He turned 28 in February. Aaron Gordon is going to be 28 in September. Mm-hmm. You've got Jamal Murray, who is 26. You got Michael Porter Jr., who is about to turn 25. That is a young core. Mm-hmm. We talked about ascending or descending. That is all an ascending core in terms of the ages, the amount of miles on their body, and the rest of that. Jokic is in his, it says 7th year. I guess he didn't come over right away when he was drafted, but he was playing basketball somewhere. 28 is about when you're at your best, and so these guys have a good 2 or 3 more years of peak window basketball. That scares me.
I'm not going to tell you how the Warriors can be the favorite to start next year because I don't think that's possible. What I am going to say, though, is everything that you just stated is all on paper, and seasons don't go that way. Rarely.
Right.
Can Denver win this series and then come back next year and have a healthy year and win it again? Sure. But then what do we hear the Warriors say every other year? Damn, it's hard to repeat. It's so hard. I don't even know if Denver's going to win this year. But it's so difficult to have things go the same way. Whenever we sit here at the end of one season, things are never the same at the end. And it's hard to remind ourselves of those things sometimes. But go back to training camp for the 49ers last year and then think, all right, what happened between then and January? I mean, oh my God, you need a dictionary-sized book to tell that story. So I like, can the Warriors come back and be a part of the mix, and are things just going to go perfectly for the Nuggets? I mean, I don't know how it's going to go for the Nuggets in this series or next year. I don't know who's going to get hurt. I don't know who's going to wave a gun on Instagram. I don't know who's going to get along. I don't know who's going to have something, as we said a few minutes ago, get mixed into the stew that doesn't work. You know, someone asked, I said, okay, Mark, you said something didn't work in the stew, and I think you're right. What do you think it was? I don't know if I could describe it other than just saying it feels like it was something regarding Jordan Poole. I can't assess the blame. I can't tell you.
If you tracked why it was Jordan Poole, you could track it back to certain incidents that happened and say they maybe played a role.
Except for what led to the incident.
Right.
That could be what's in the stew. Like they weren't on the same page. I'm not saying that's Jordan's fault. It could be anybody's fault. But I thought it was obvious when you watched Warrior basketball this year that there were a number of instances where you're just like, they're not on the same page. And the beauty of Warrior basketball was always just that.
On the same page.
Always on the same page.
And every time they didn't feel like they were on the same page, it seemed to involve Jordan Poole. Whether or not he was at fault, to your point, or not, it felt like Jordan Poole was involved in things not looking right.
Absolutely. And by the way, that leads us to the conversation we've been having all week about Bob Myers. And the fact that I woke up yesterday and then came in here and I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't buy it. I don't buy it at face value. Is there some truth to everything that everyone is saying? Yes. Does Joe Lacob love Bob Myers? Yes. Did he put a huge offer on the table? Yes. Does Bob want to be with his family more? Yes. Is that the whole story? Hell no. Hell no. There's no way. With this level of money and ego and everything on the table, there's no way that that's the whole story. Listen to Brian Windhorst, ESPN, just yesterday.
Bob Myers is 48 years old. Now, I understand he's worn out because it's been a heck of a decade. He is not 68 years old. He is not of retirement age. This is a guy in his prime as an executive saying, I can't do this job anymore right now. And he is the first of 4 people that the Warriors don't have control of after next season. Obviously, we've got Draymond Green, who can opt out this year. That's a huge thing. Steve Kerr is on the final year of his contract. We just spent 12 months. The Warriors could not get a deal done with Bob Myers even after they won the title. What's going to happen with Steve Kerr going in the medium to long term? And then, of course, Klay Thompson. Klay Thompson has 1 year left on his contract. There's been discussions about whether or not he will sign an extension. And here's the thing. If they bring Draymond Green back at any reasonable number, with Jordan Poole's new max salary coming onto the books, Greeny, they are looking at a $500 million-esque payroll when you include the luxury taxes. It may not quite get to $5 million, but it's going to be far and away the most expensive team in the history of professional sports. But I'm not sure Joe Lacob can abide paying that salary for a team that finished in 6th place and didn't make it out of the second round. And I don't know what's in Bob Myers' head, but the fact that he's walking away at age 48 is worrisome when you think about where they're going.
Totally agreed. Across the board. He's 48.
The dude abides, though. Joe Lacob abides.
I'm the dude. Yes, he does.
When it comes to $500 million, I don't know if the dude will abide, but he has so far abided to spending exorbitant sums of money.
I'd give $100 to any media member who can get Joe Lacob to say in his next press conference, I'm the dude.
Totally.
The dude abides. We'll see. But I just think this is important to note. Bob can be totally tired. He can be tired of this. He can be tired of missing his family. But I'm just going to speak without having walked in another man's shoes. I'm going to speak to life at 48. He ain't retiring. He not leaving work for the rest of his life. He not that tired. He's tired of this. And so only he can answer, probably to those closest to him, what is actually going on that Bob is so tired of. But I think it is completely fair to say whatever he's tired of probably speaks to organizational structure issues that are affecting others as well. And so when he says if Bob is first, what's next? Is it Steve? Could it be Clay? What is going to happen here within the near future? And sure, it probably is a sign that this is the beginning of the end. Which I guess wouldn't be all that surprising.
Right.
But that's why it hit me so hard when Joe is just like, we're going to win. Doesn't matter. We're going to win. No matter what the rules. I'm like, dude, I can't wait to see you pull a rabbit out of this hat.
Yeah, that would be impressive.
How the hell are you winning 3 years from now?
Or 5 or 10 or 15.
Well, 10 or 15 I get. Like, I think they're smart and they're a very good organization.
Well,
but
I don't get it.
You don't snap your fingers and replace the legends.
Think about teams that have won multiple championships spanning multiple different superstars. The Lakers come to mind. Well, the Lakers have always had an ability to attract the best of the best, and they've done it so many times. You go from Magic and Kareem, and then you draft Kobe, which was a whole shady undertaking, knowing that he would only play for one team. You brought in Shaq, and then you get LeBron. The Lakers have had that ability to bring people to the team. San Antonio did it. They went from David Robinson, who won a title. Then you got Tim Duncan because David Robinson got hurt and you happened to win the lottery and you got a generational player in that fashion. So if Joe Lacob can get that lucky, and you already had an opportunity. You had a top pick in the draft. You had James Wiseman at number 2, and you messed up the pick. Now, was there a generational player available? I don't think so.
Maybe not.
In that draft, so you weren't as lucky as the Spurs were. But teams don't do what Joe Lacob is basically saying that they're going to do.
Well, and even when they do, they have bad years, bad stretches. The Lakers have had horrible years. The Spurs just had one, and now maybe they got their guy again. We shall see.